The entire airport hangar fell silent when the words left the CEO's mouth. A multi-millionaire executive stood in an expensive suit, surrounded by managers, engineers, and security personnel. Across from him stood a tired single father wearing grease-stained work clothes and worn-out boots. The man had spent 3 straight nights solving a problem that nobody else could fix. Yet all he was asking for was the payment he had been promised. The CEO glanced at him with cold eyes and laughed. He said the man wasn't even worth $599. What happened next would cost the company far more than money. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and treating every person with respect regardless of their position, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs inspiration, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories. The story began in Dallas, Texas. Nathan Carter was 38 years old and raising his 9-year-old son, Caleb, alone. Life had not been easy for him. 5 years earlier, his wife, Rachel, had passed away after a sudden illness, leaving Nathan to become both father and mother overnight. Every morning started before sunrise. Nathan prepared breakfast, packed school lunches, drove Caleb to school, and then headed to whichever maintenance job he could find. He wasn't employed by a large company. Instead, he worked independently as a highly skilled aviation technician. Most people never knew how talented he really was. Large corporations often hired expensive consultants while ignoring experienced workers like Nathan. Yet whenever complicated mechanical problems appeared, someone eventually called him. His reputation quietly spread throughout the aviation industry. People said that if Nathan couldn't fix it, nobody could. Unfortunately, reputation didn't always pay the bills. Some months were good. Others were frightening. There were nights when Nathan sat at the kitchen table staring at unpaid bills while Caleb slept in the next room. He worried constantly about rent, school expenses, and whether he could provide the future his son deserved. Still, he never complained. He simply worked harder. One rainy Tuesday afternoon, Nathan received an urgent phone call. A private aviation company based outside Dallas was facing a crisis. Their newest aircraft, a luxury corporate jet worth nearly $200 million, had developed a critical systems failure. Multiple teams had examined the aircraft. Engineers from different states had been flown in. Nobody could identify the problem. The aircraft was scheduled to transport major investors within days. Every hour it remained grounded was costing the company thousands of dollars. Desperate, they contacted Nathan. The company promised immediate payment if he could solve the issue. For Nathan, the job represented more than money. It represented hope. Maybe he could finally catch up on bills. Maybe he could replace Caleb's aging laptop. Maybe life could become a little easier. Nathan accepted immediately. When he arrived at the hangar, he found dozens of frustrated specialists standing around the enormous jet. The aircraft looked magnificent from the outside. Inside, however, something was terribly wrong. Critical systems repeatedly failed during startup sequences. Diagnostic computers produced conflicting information. No one could determine the source. For 3 days and 3 nights, Nathan barely slept. He studied technical diagrams. He inspected wiring systems. He examined control modules. He crawled through cramped access compartments while others went home. Coffee became his only companion. His hands became covered in cuts and bruises. Meanwhile, Caleb stayed with a neighbor while his father worked around the clock. By the 4th morning, Nathan finally discovered the problem. A tiny electrical fault hidden deep within a secondary control network was causing a chain reaction throughout multiple systems. The issue was so unusual that most technicians would never have found it. Nathan carefully repaired the damaged components. Then he restarted the aircraft. One by one, every system came online. Perfectly. The hangar erupted with applause. Managers smiled. Engineers celebrated. The aircraft was saved. Nathan felt exhausted but proud. He gathered his tools and walked toward the administrative office to receive the payment he had been promised. the invoice totaled only $599. For a company operating a $200 million aircraft, the amount was insignificant. For Nathan, it meant groceries, utility bills, and breathing room. Unfortunately, that was when everything changed. Inside the office sat the company's CEO, Richard Sullivan. Richard was famous for his wealth and equally famous for his arrogance.